I did. I mean, I'm kind of oblivious, but I have a 17-year-old son. My son Rio is like his room looks like Golden Apple Comics. Like his room is filled to the brim with comics and graphic novels, and the kid, he knows everything about every single character in DC and Marvel. And it was a big deal to him. And I'm like, well, what's the big deal? He goes, no, you have no idea. You're aligning with Lex Luthor. And I'm like, no, I don't. What's the big deal? And so he kind of schooled me a little bit. We shot that while we were doing Superman. So we shot parts of Peacemaker while we were shooting Superman. So it was really taken out of context for me. We hadn't shot Peacemaker yet. So it was very interesting. It continued. It's a relationship that will affect the future of that world. The reason why I couldn't do it was because I was shooting Tulsa King at the same time, and there was a crossover. We tried everything. We tried like a temporary dye, but nothing would come out fast enough. I was shooting because they both shoot in Atlanta, so I was shooting both shows at the same time. Wow. I'd have 3 days off of this show and I'd go do that show. So to fuck with the hair it just wasn't an option. And I know people think I just want to keep my hair. I'm like, no, I don't really care. Or shave at my hair. I don't really care. It's, and so when we were at the premiere for Peacemaker in New York, I said, if we come back for Peacemaker, season 3, I'm going to do my hair. I think it looks like Gunn's hair, a little longer, because this is where I knew I might be involved down the road. He said, no, you can't. He goes, you haven't heard about the plans? I go, nobody told me about the plans. He goes, yeah, you can't dye your hair yet. And so that's all I know. We dipped our toe in to see if people are still interested. And I can't tell you globally, and this is because of Netflix. This is only because of Netflix. This is the power of Netflix. It's kind of unanimous. Like, people really dug the show. And so I got in touch with Byron and Jonathan Tucker. I said, are you? And they both said yes. And so everybody was kind of busy. This was about a month and a half ago. And so we're going to circle back to this and see if there is a version of 8 episodes, like a final 8 episodes standalone, with the 3 guys that are left and what happens. And if we could come up with a great story, we're going to try to pull it off, see how we can do it. I have thought about, post Nate being gone and how that affected Alvy, and again, having 3 sons and that macabre thought of, what would I do if, God forbid, and who they were as people, where they were in their lives when it all happened, and, Alvy ending that fight with Matt Hughes and where it would go. And I think there's somewhere, it's kind of like, in my imagination, and Byron Blasco might say, no, that's not it. But in my imagination, it's like somewhere where Rambo was in the woods somewhere, chopping down a tree years later, and they come to get him. And that's how I see it opening. Like, Alvy is somewhere out in the desert, having done massive amounts of psychedelics, and someone's coming to get him. And chaos ensues for the next, But so it's got to have closure, there's got to be gripping story to tell, and there's got to be a fight. There's got to be fighters. And maybe it's Jonathan, or maybe he becomes it. Maybe him and I coach together. But I think there's some good story to be had. And Byron Belasco, in my opinion, is a genius, because he wrote all those scripts by himself, basically. He had a writer's room, but he did a lot of page 1 rewrites. So I would love nothing more than to do that.